Preskowski. Welcome to the Finance Committee meeting on Thursday, December 5th, 2024 at the Ayer Town Hall. This is a hybrid meeting. Note, this meeting of the Finance Committee will be held in person at the location provided on this notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation via Zoom is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with particular interest in a specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may access the proceedings by joining Zoom meeting ID 860-8777-15 or 19 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, Assistant Town Manager, at atm@ayer.mass.us or 978-772-8220, extension 100, prior to the meeting. I just will note for the next meeting, the town Zoom meeting ID has been changed to, and again, both can be used tonight, but in the future it will be the town phone number will be the Zoom meeting ID, which is 978-772-8220. Okay, call the meeting to order. And Jen, are you with us?
I don't know how this new meeting thing works. Eric, you got the Zoom?
I do have this. I have that.
Oh.
I don't have that.
No.
Yeah, and
Oh,
plus,
there's a
there it is.
Nope. Oh,
I
there's an
don't know.
iPhone.
I don't know if that's her.
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah, there might be again some confusion with as we transition the Zoom ID from the old ID to the new Zoom ID. There may be some hiccups, but we do have a.
The
Yes.
iPhone did just raise their hand, so that may be the person.
Oh, okay. Jen, can you hear us? Can we hear you?
It's Pauline. It's
Oh,
right
okay.
here.
Oh, very
I
good.
just want you to know it was me. So
Very good. Okay, good. All right, so we do have a full quorum, though, tonight with myself, Eric Seckman, Bob France, and Andrew Seeley. So, okay, the first item on the agenda is review and approval of the November 21st, 2024 meeting minutes. Are there any adjustments, questions, changes to be made?
Yes.
Okay.
We should put the water and sewer superintendent's name.
Oh, did I forget that?
Yeah.
Where is that?
It's on the front page. It has a dash without a name.
Oh, okay, so that is
Kimberly?
Kimberly.
I don't know Kimberly's last name.
I will need that.
Abraham.
Correct. Duly noted. Okay.
And then on the last page, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th paragraph up is the second to last word is and the Barbara stated that she usually borrows in the spring. I'm missing a T.
Okay, changed.
That was it.
Very good. All right. So that everything looks good. I move that we accept the minutes with the changes for November 7th.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Good. And I do want to just thank Eric Seckman for the great job. Despite
I was gonna say he's doing great.
a few things.
You're doing
Yes.
great.
So thank you very much, Eric, for this.
My pleasure.
Okay, outside committee updates. You want to go ahead, Bob, or?
Sure.
Okay.
So, the rate review committee recommended the approval of the recommended or unchanged waste, the transfer station rates. So that's already been passed by the select board. Our next intended rate review is for the water and sewer rates. And then we've adopted the review of the stormwater rates, which is coming up as a new fee. So that's it. So our next meeting's December 10th, and I'll report back on the next one.
Okay, so we're just going to start looking at water and sewer rates. Okay. I have been attending the capital planning meetings. We've had several of them, and we've had presentations from the fire department, senior center, and most recently last night, also Department of, I don't think we haven't had Department of Public Works yet.
No, next week.
Right. We had the Parks and Department and Library Department made their presentations. Just want to just throw out for reference, again, this is the beginning of the capital planning. Nothing is in stone yet, but just to give folks this heads up on some of the things that are being looked at, again, reviewed, and then will be processed through the capital planning and then eventually worked out later on. But one of the several things on the radar, again, is the senior center project, which we know about. For the fire department, the sort of the biggest thing they were looking at is some self-contained breathing apparatus. This is the units that the firemen wear into the buildings for the fire. They need to upgrade those. That is going to be around some $370,000, again, tentatively. The Parks Department talked about the Sandy Pond Beach House, which is in desperate need of repair. And the idea right now is to just do some preliminary funding of about $150,000 to continue to look at the best way to do it, because it's such an old building. Just trying to fix it isn't going to be the best thing. And then next year, next budget season, that would be budget 2027, would be the actual budgeting, which could be anywhere from $700,000 or so to actually do the replacement of the building. But so we're essentially pushing it off one more year to make sure it's done properly. Yes, Andrew?
Wasn't there a line item in the budget for a study on replacing that building?
Yes.
That's like $40,000. Yes,
Was that done?
they did the study, and
Right.
now the next phase is the design and the construct. Yes.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the study came up with 3 options. One was a modular option, one was a new construction, and one was a rehab. And the Parks Commission voted to recommend or to proceed with the new construction.
Okay, but there's
So
still,
now what's before capital is a request of $120,000 to do the final design and everything. And then they would come back next year for the funding for the project itself.
got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Yes, sir.
Question. Is this separate from the plot of land across the street?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That has its own committee.
Correct, yeah. Yeah, the 71 Sandy Pond Road Committee. And I should note, if you go to the town manager's website under Budget 2026, there is a capital planning place, and that presentation we just discussed is out there for to be looked at. So again, I'm just trying to give the committee just a quick update of what is on the capital planning's plate as they go forward. Let's see. And then the other thing is that the public building, again, I'm just doing the major items, was they are looking at replacing the library roof, which is under the public building budget. And Robert, I am going to default to you. I think we're tentatively looking at 250,000. Again, this is very rough.
Yes, hi, Mr. Chair, committee, yes.
Library roof.
The library roof.
Didn't they just fix the library roof?
Chuck, they've been doing all kinds of, as you'll see from the presentation, they've been doing all kinds of various spot repairs and so forth. And it's gotten to a point, what did, Kurt, I think the original roof was from 1996.
It's 28 years old.
Yes, 28 years old, and it's reached a point where there's some spots where water is coming into the building. It's reached a point that there needs to be a significant replacement. But Andrew, you're correct. There have been a lot of recent repairs.
20 years sounds low.
No, 28.
That sounds low for a roof. Sorry.
Oh.
I know the status, the precise status of the library is a little different in this town than maybe some other places, and the town doesn't actually own the building, am I correct? It's owned by the trustees of the library?
Correct. So the Ayer Library, it's a, yes, the Ayer Library is a separate entity under the trustees. That being said, the town has always funded, right.
I understand
Yes.
that completely.
Yep.
Am I incorrect in believing that the trustees also have a trust fund that has money? My question being,
Yeah.
how much are the trustees of the contributing to this, especially considering, as Andrew previously mentioned, the town has already footed the bill for numerous other spot repairs.
Right. And so though this request is under the facilities, just clear, as Kurt knows, the library and the library director have endorsed it and we're there. It was not presented to the capital planning committee with any funding coming from the library trust. I think that's certainly something we could bring up and ask as we go through the capital process. So as the chair said, no decisions have been made. This is sort of the first pass, but that's a good question that was not presented, and so we will look into that.
As a member, as the representative of the capital planning committee, I'm going to make a note here. So library trust funding.
Right.
Well,
Library source funding, sure. Yep.
Okay. All right. So those are, again, the major things. There are several other items on here. And this, I think next week we'll have the DPW's presentation to the capital planning. So then our meeting of 5 + 14, the 19th, I can update the committee on the rest of the capital items that'll come up by the December 19th meeting. So I think we'll have, Robert, we'll have the DPW, and then actually the police chief will have done his presentation by then too, capital planning.
DPW is the last one. We had police.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so police, backing up. So the first meeting, as the chair will recall, assessing made a request for $50,000 on a software conversion. The police chief has one request for a police truck. And then the fire department, right, has presented, they have 3 items. One is radio upgrade. The other one is the oxygen tank, personal oxygen tank
Yeah,
for
the
the firefighters.
self-contained.
Yep, and what was the third one, Kurt? We had the radios, the oxygen tanks. Oh, and the automated, yes, the automated CPR device.
Correct, yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So, and then the senior center 2 weeks ago presented, and then last night, as the chair mentioned, was the library facilities and parks. So DPW will be its own meeting next Wednesday, which will be all DPW, water, sewer, cemetery. And then, as the chair knows, starting on the 18th, the committee will then begin to get down into the details and reviewing and so forth.
Okay, very good, thank you. And what I'll do for our committee is, again, I'm just looking quickly at some notes, and this is where you may have noticed when I came in, I was going through my capital planning folder. But I will have a summary of all the items from that capital planning is discussing, and then just for our next meeting as a capital planning update to our outside committees. Okay. So that's the updates. So takeaway from that is where you review water and sewer, library, roof, check on library trust funding for that item. Okay. That's it for I have. Next item on the agenda, I left the financial reports from October only. Did anyone have any more questions? I mean, we discussed those, and Barbara discussed those last week. I was wondering if anyone had any other questions on that.
I don't think anything stood out. I
Nope.
think the explanation on the spend, being underspent or overspent was sufficient.
Okay.
I do read them. I enjoy getting them emailed to me.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good thing. Okay. The other thing I want to do under financial reports is this. We got the memo from Robert yesterday about the 2026 budget preparation directive and process. This was, I think we posted a copy to the website. And this is actually from Robert to the town boards, commissions, committees, and departments to prepare their budget requests for the year and then begin to submit them, so that then Robert can begin to put together the FY 2026 budget. And on the second page is the actual, some notes about this, how to do it, and step on item 1, and the deadline is Friday, December 27th. And then some other notes about how to, under number 2, do not include any new personnel positions. Some other things, I think, which are pretty routine. And then item 3 says, upon receipt of these, the town manager and finance manager, Barbara, will meet with the departments to review and discuss their budget submissions. And then note that if they don't meet the deadline, they would use the FY 2025 budget. So this is just, again, I just thought it'd be good for us to see that this is how the budget process starts. Robert and Barbara receives all of these, and then later in the month, in the first part in January, and Robert, glad you're here, you will then prepare the budget calendar and budget, and then communicate that to us.
Yes, perfect, spot on. Just a couple of quick points. As the chair mentioned, so departments have till December 27th to submit their initial requests. Barbara and I will receive those, and with the town accountant, get everything together. The beginning of January, forgive me the exact date, it is on the budget calendar. The budget will then be transmitted to you as the FinCom and the Select Board, and will be publicly available. It's in the beginning of January every year, and that's sort of, if you will, draft 1. And then Barbara and I, Mr. Chair, or any department head or anybody that the Finance Committee would like to appear before you to review the budget and discuss their budgets, would be happy to set that up and facilitate it. I just want to say quickly for the FinCom's benefit, we are entering FY26 from a strong fiscal position, which is great. The certified free cash for the town is at 3.2 million, which is we will be discussing as we move through the process with the FinCom and the Select Board and through the Buy Board recommended uses for that free cash. But we are coming into the budget from a very strong position. In the first paragraph, though, of the letter, to all the departments, I just want to point out, though it is somewhat still a period of uncertainty and transition, we continue to experience high inflation, which all cities and towns are, and all personal pocketbooks are experiencing. Increased energy costs, even though the town, through the facilities department and our green community status, is very competitive on that. Energy costs, again, just like inflation, are always pushing. The increased construction costs and supply chain challenges still remain, which can have impacts as well. And then specific for this year, then I note that the recent closure of the Neshoba Valley Medical Center will have significant financial and resource impacts on the town's public safety infrastructure, senior center services, and transportation, as well as economic impacts, as we lost approximately 600 jobs. The chiefs are actively tracking that, as the FinCom knows, and perhaps right after the holidays, the chief could come to the FinCom, I think, with an update on what we're seeing. A lot of these costs have not been fully realized yet and won't be, but we know they exist. And we're not alone in this. All of the Neshoba towns in the Neshoba Valley are seeing this. You may recall a couple months ago, for example, in Groton, they had a special town meeting where they used over $100,000 in free cash to hire 2 more firefighters. I will say a true testament to Chief Johnston, the FinCom, the Select Board, and the taxpayers of Ayer, the SAFER grant that got those 4 extra firefighters a couple of years ago. We had no idea that the hospital was going to close, has been a godsend in that sense. So I think as we move forward, Mr. Chair, I think as we look in the budget, I think one of the areas where there may be some increases, and we don't fully know yet, is in the fire budget, specifically in the ambulance enterprise. Police, to a lesser degree. I know that the Council on Aging and Senior Center, as far as the need for transportation, has increased, and the director and I are actively working with Mart on getting some additional resources for that. So that's, I think, the real area of concern as we move forward. So with that, if any of you have any questions, feel free to let me know. We will activate the FY26 budget page now that this memo's gone out, so that'll be on the town's website. So all documents related to the FY26 budget, such as this memo and everything, will populate there, not only for the FinCom, but for the public. So I look forward to working with all of you in the next several months, and before you know it, it will be April. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robert, for adding details to that. I appreciate that. Any questions from our group on this? Or I think it's, yeah. I think what our next item on the agenda is schedule next meeting, and I'm just making some notes for our next meeting is, again, I've already said I will, under the outside committee updates, I'm thinking I will actually put outside committee update, rate review, outside committee update, capital planning. Bob, you can have an update on what's, as the water and sewer rates have started off that process. As I mentioned, I'll try to have a good summary of the capital planning beginning, because it's still just the beginning. Yes, Andrew?
When's Buy Board gonna start?
Oh, thank you.
So usually the buy board will start the beginning of January to coincide sort of with the budget process. And I know it's not on the agenda for tonight, so perhaps we could discuss further. I had a question for the FinCom, do we continue with the buy board? So the buy board has always had representatives from the select board and the FinCom, and myself, the finance manager, and so forth. And there's no issue with continuing with that process? Or do we, what we used to do at the buy board, which was advisory in nature, do we consider moving those functions under the finance committee? I mean, one of the issues that happened for many years when I had the buy board, and this is a testament to this committee, there was a period of time before all of you, we didn't have a quorum of a FinCom or so forth. And it was just an idea, and I know it's not on the agenda. One of the thoughts are, do we, because you're the advisory authority from town meeting on the budget and so forth, do we move those functions to the FinCom, or do we continue with the buy board? And as of right now, the plan is to convene the buy board the beginning of January. But not to get ahead, but there was something I was going to bring up for a future meeting. Would it be, do we consider doing those functions here? Which, what I mean by those functions is, again, reviewing the budget. The buy board looks at recommended uses for the free cash, which are ultimately subject to the FinCom and the select board and ultimately town meeting. The financial policies, which we just did a review and update, that's like every 2 years. The buy board, that was a good function then, but we don't have that this year. It's just an idea, I'm not pushing either way, but it was something that the finance manager and I were just discussing recently. So something to think about, and if we want to pursue that discussion in more detail, Mr. Chair, it could be put on a future meeting, here. I have not mentioned it to the select board yet, so I'd have to there. But to Mr. Seeley's question, we'll be convening the buy board right after the holidays to start, to coincide with the budget. All right.
Thank you.
Sorry for that, but
No,
it triggered
this is
a coming attraction. But that decision ultimately would be up to the FinCom and the select board about the buy board. I have no issue with the buy board. I'm just thinking as a efficiency or so forth, do we put those functions under here? And the evolution of the buy board, it started off as the tri board right before I had come to Ayer. It was when we had it was the schools, the FinCom, and the select board. And then it had a lot to do with the regionalization at the time. And then it collapsed, or was put down to FinCom, select board, and financial staff. And the question, we can continue with that model, or do we put that under the FinCom? Again, everything the buy board does is all advisory and in public. Everything that the FinCom does is public. So something to think about, but more to come.
Thank you,
All right,
Robert.
Thank you.
So how about if I add then for our next meeting, again, so outside committee update rate review, outside committee update capital planning, and outside committee update buy board. And maybe we'll continue this discussion about the buy board itself at our next meeting. Does that sound like a good idea?
Those are our next meetings.
Okay, so the next meeting would be Thursday, December 19th, which I know is coming close to the holiday. But we can keep it short also. I mean, I think.
I'm fine with the 19th.
Okay.
I'll be out of state.
Oh, okay. Would you be able to zoom in, or?
Probably not. It's for work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You'll be here. Okay, so if we have three, we'll have a quorum. And Jen, again, I'm guessing that Jen, this has been the Zoom transition problem.
She mentioned that she had lost track of time, and and just messaged a few minutes
Oh,
ago.
did she just send us a message? Okay.
Yeah,
that's
I lost track of time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, very good. All right, well, that's good to know. All right, well, then we'll go ahead and schedule the next meeting for Thursday, December 19th at 6 PM. The other thing I'm going to add to the agenda is we may, if we have the financial report for November available, I don't know if it will or not, but I will either have that on the agenda if we have it, or if not, I'll take it off. But what I will put on the agenda will be budget process notes. So again, just an agenda point for us to check in where, we are with the budget process. Okay. All right. Any public comments?
You did have a hand up a second ago.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. And do we invite them, or Pauline, can you hear us?
I can, thank you.
Okay, you're,
My hand up earlier I took down because Robert told you everything I was gonna say then. But I would like to ask if you are going to be reviewing documents, and one you just held up, Kurt, I obviously didn't see what it said, but please attach them to your agenda for those out here in the public, mainly me,
right.
have the opportunity to look at them before you all, or before your meeting, in case we have any questions. And you're not screen sharing, so I don't even know what you're looking at, which is
Oh,
fine. But I just want to say again, y'all did a great job tonight. Andrew, you're my rock star right now.
Thanks, Pauline.
You're very welcome. Have a good
Yeah.
night, everyone, and I'll see you next week.
okay. And then Pauline, actually, the memo we discussed is on the, our website next to our agenda. We did post it out there. And we would have pulled it up on the screen, except we're, again, transitioning from the one Zoom to the other. Oh, you did have it.
Yeah, I was showing this the entire time.
Okay.
I never saw it out here in Zoom land, and I appreciate the transition, Kurt. But if the document isn't attached to your agenda, how do we know where to find it?
So what we do is when you go to where we have the agenda posted,
Mm-hmm.
there is then a second item called the memo, that we were just looking at is posted also.
Well, that's awesome, but it wasn't there Monday when I printed your agenda, so I don't know what to tell you. But I appreciate your efforts, and I will
Okay.
continue to monitor that.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
No, thanks for the feedback on and I apologize, Eric, you did have it pulled up on our end. But then, Max, we'll let our IT person know that you weren't able to see it at your end.
Right, and that's probably because I'm on the old line and not the new line.
Yeah,
So we'll get through that by February.
yeah, no, that's good. Good feedback. So,
All right, thank you so much. Have a good night, guys.
Right, thank
Hi,
you.
Pauline.
Yeah. Okay, anything else for the common good? Yeah.
I don't want to steal the thunder every time.
Make a motion to adjourn?
I will second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
So meeting is adjourned as of
6:36.
6:36 PM. Thank you.